ain't got no boundaries to hold me back. Boundaries is what I lack. Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Conflation Station. Hop on board the next train out, and let's take a ride to a place where anything's possible.
Hello and welcome to the Conflation Station. My name is Hugo Yorway, and I'll be your tour guide for today's podcast, which will include political commentary, music, and participation from you, our listeners. At the Conflation Station, our team of creative writers and novice journalists combine elements of irony, satire, and pure absurdity to create insightful political commentary and homespun conflated conspiracy theories taken from today's news headlines. In the first segment of our show, known as the 14th Circuit, or what I like to call the Court of Public Opinion, renowned raconteur, the Reverend Rusty Stubblefield, shares his unfiltered and unhinged views about America's constitutional crisis. His topic this week, your right to vote. Rusty, the microphone is yours.
Well, thank you, Hugo. When I was in grade school, sometime around the beginning of the school year, the teacher told us we's going to have elections for class president. She asked who wanted to run for office. We wasn't told what we had to do being president or if there was anything we actually had to do. But some kids just knew they wanted to be president. It was always the popular kids who sat in the front row. You know, those kids who raised their hands for everything else? They was the ones who also raised their hands to be president. The girls who raised their hands, well, they was usually the cute and proper types. And the guys who ran against them, they didn't stand a chance. You see, we all knew who the teacher wanted for president, and we didn't want to disappoint her none. There was no nominations, no speeches, no campaigning, no nothing. We just voted. Sometimes the candidates were made to stand up in front of the classroom at the blackboard to endure the humiliation by their classmates while the vote counting took place. Other times, the candidates' names were just put on the blackboard and the teacher put little tick marks under their names. At the end of this pretty little popularity contest, the kid that had the most friends and the one who sucked up to the teacher the most got elected class president. The schools, they was just doing their job, inculcating us young minds into the values of our democratic society. The same way they did by making us say a pledge to that colorful striped flag at the front of the classroom. That's where partisan politics begins, in the classroom. That's where we all learned how elections go. They is winners and they is losers. That's where we learned that democracy is based on popularity and not competence. Even way back then, I thought there's gotta be a better way to pick our leaders. You see, the framers of the Constitution, our good old founding fathers, well, they put these wheels in motion about 250 years ago. It was amazing the shit they got away with. Those geniuses set up a self-serving framework of government where only white men with property could vote. No women, no blacks, no way, no how. It took decades for blacks to get the right to vote and over a century for women to get the same. Y'all, that's some messed up shit. So only a select group of people was deciding who gets elected, and the rest of the common folk, excluding blacks and women, got nothing. And how did folks render a judgment on candidates when they didn't know shit about them? You know, back then, only a few people knew how to read and write. So what they do was go to hear the candidates talk and debate at meetings. And the better talkers and debaters, well, they had the advantage, didn't they? And the more money they had, the more places they could get to use those silver tongues of theirs to unfurl their shiny pearls of wisdom. And back then, people listened and believed them, even though they didn't know a damn thing about them. And sure as hell, those candidates said what they wanted to and made campaign promises they knew they wouldn't keep, and even made dumb shit up just to get elected. You see, just like today, once they got elected, it didn't matter. These white men who created the system, not women, not blacks. These white men had all the power and all the influence to do what the hell they damn pleased. Thank you all for listening.
Rusty Stubblefield is an unemployed certified auto mechanic and a deacon at the Church of Our Lady of Original Sin. And now it's time for a brief musical interlude performed by the one and only Electric Love Orchestra. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with this week's Conflated Conspiracy Theories. And we're back. In our next segment, we'll be sharing various homegrown conspiracy theories that have been developed by our staff of creative writers and novice journalists who believe first and foremost that at the Conflation Station, anything is possible. We invite you, our listeners, to share your own homegrown conspiracy theories by calling in at the end of this segment or by sending an email to bearberrypathmusic, one word, that's bearberrypathmusic@gmail.com, and place the words conspiracy theory in the subject line. In today's episode, we will turn our attention to conflated conspiracy theories that focus on the subject of tariffs. Today's top story may place the fate of Major League Baseball in jeopardy this summer. While the United States is Costa Rica's top trading partner, the Trump administration recently threw Costa Rica a curveball by placing a 10% tariff on all goods shipped from Costa Rica to the U.S., including baseballs. In retaliation, Costa Rica's President Rodrigo Chavez Robles imposed a total ban on shipping baseballs manufactured in Costa Rica to the U.S. On a hot mic, President Robles was overheard saying, and I quote, "We'll show Trump who's got more balls," end quote. This unprecedented development in Trump's global trade war is significant because the Rawlings baseball manufacturing plant located in Costa Rica manufactures 2.4 million baseballs annually, of which 1.8 million are shipped to the U.S. for Major League Baseball. This comprises 100% of the balls used in all Major League games. According to a statement issued by MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, and I quote, "We just can't play baseballs without any balls." He also said, and I quote, "Rather than cancel the baseball season, the MLB is considering the use of wiffle balls as an alternative. You know, wiffle balls are manufactured domestically in Shelton, Connecticut," end quote. A spokesperson for the Major League Ball Players Association told us that if wiffle balls are being used, the association will show team owners what playing hardball really looks like and will authorize a player strike. We've also learned that LA Dodgers slugger Shohei Ohtani has already made plans to return to Japan. Our next story falls into the category of tariffs unheard of. As Donald Trump continues to flip-flop on his tariff and trade policies, the penguins on Heard Island are using their flippers to propel their own economic interests. Heard Island, an Australian territory, is located near Antarctica and has no human inhabitants. The World Economic Forum was flummoxed when it learned that the Trump administration actually placed a 25% tariff on all goods shipped from the island to the United States. A spokespenguin for the island's inhabitants signaled that until the Trump tariffs are lifted, the nearly 50,000 penguins that live on the island will be retaliating by placing a 200% reciprocal tariff on all Gorton's fish sticks coming into the island from the U.S. Chris Hussey, Gorton's vice president of marketing, told our sources that he is willing to personally sit down with the Penguins ambassador to work out a deal. Our inside sources were told by the spokespenguin that if a deal could not be reached with the Trump administration, the Penguins would file an injunction in the 14th Circuit Court of Appeals to block the Pittsburgh Penguins from using the Penguins' name and image on their hockey jerseys. In response, President Trump threatened to deport all Penguins, U.S. citizens or not, from Alaska back to Heard Island. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski says she will oppose the measure. Our Conflated Conspiracy Theory hotline is now open to take call-ins from you, our listeners. Hi, welcome to the Conflation Station's Conspiracy Theory hotline. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
Hey, this is Barbara.
Barbara? Where are you from, Barbara?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York? Wow. Is that right? Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, you got it. Brooklyn, New York.
One of the 5 boroughs. Well, what do you do for work in Brooklyn, New York, Barbara?
I'm a nurse.
You're a nurse, and like you in ER, what part of the hospital you work in?
I'm in pediatrics.
Pediatrics. Okay, you're a saint, not just a nurse. And what do you do for fun?
Well, I walk the streets and I collect bottles for recycling and I make projects out of them.
Like, for example, what kind of projects have you made lately?
Well, the last one I made a planter.
A planter out of a bottle. What kind of bottle was it? Was it a soda bottle? Was it a beer bottle? What kind of bottles are you collecting?
Well, it was like one of those big Poland Spring bottles that you can put a lot of soil in.
Ah, sounds cool. And tell me, Barbara, what's your conspiracy theory today?
I heard in order to avoid tariffs, Canada is breeding genetically modified super geese to smuggle auto parts and whiskey into the U.S.
Sounds really, really interesting. I wonder how big these super geese are. Did they say how big they are? Are they like large geese? Are they like 747s, or are they just a little bigger than the normal geese?
Oh, they're bigger.
Ah, another Mother Goose story. Thank you for sharing, and we'll keep our ear to the ground to look for any future developments. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, welcome to the Conflation Station's Conspiracy Theory hotline. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
It's Henry Johnson.
Henry Johnson. Henry, where are you from?
Palmyra, Maine.
You're from Palmyra, Maine. Like, how far north up the coast is that? Or is it even on the coast?
No, inland.
Inland.
I'd say southern middle Maine.
Middle Maine. Okay. And like, you're a man from Maine. So what do you do for work up there?
Well, I'm retired.
You're retired. So
I am.
You have plenty of time on your hands. What do you do for fun?
I like to fish. Fish for bass.
You fish for bass? And where are you doing that?
Great Moose Lake.
Great Moose Lake.
Right here in Heartland, Maine.
Must be beautiful.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
And tell me, what's your conspiracy theory for today?
Well, I heard that Trump is threatening to deport Judge James Boasberg to El Salvador under the Aliens Enemy Act for impersonating Judge Clarence Thomas at a party following that Washington Press annual. Also heard that Representative Lauren Boebert received a Congressional Medal of Honor from President Trump for doing an impersonation of Anita Hill.
Sounds like disparate treatment to me. Well, listen, thank you for sharing, and we'll keep our ear to the ground to look for any future developments in this story. Thank you, and enjoy your fishing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye. Sorry we couldn't get to all of our callers today, but if you want to share a homegrown conspiracy theory, please send us an email at bearberrypathmusic. That's one word, bearberrypathmusic@gmail.com, and place the words conspiracy theory in the subject line.
Well, we've reached our destination. We'll be back next week to pick you up for yet another journey to and from the Conflation Station.